This is a tree. This is a dog. This is a field of poppies. And this is Agmatine. Agmatine is an endogenous amine neurotransmitter in the mammalian brain. In 1910, the German biochemist Albrecht Kossel was the first to identify and coin the term Agmatine for a substance he derived from herring sperm.
He looks like a weirdo.
Looks can be deceiving, Laura. You see, in the absence of Albrecht Kossel's unyielding interest in the composition of herring sperm, the existence of Agmatine could still to this day be unknown. Albrecht Kossel was nothing short of a genius and a legend. In the same year he discovered Agmatine, Albrecht Kossel was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine for his contributions to understanding the chemistry of nucleic acids and proteins.
Alright then.
This happened 11 years before the German pharmacologist Otto Loewi confirmed that neurons communicate through the release of chemicals we now call neurotransmitters. He also discovered acetylcholine, the first known neurotransmitter.
What's a neurotransmitter?
Neurotransmitters are the chemicals that mediate interneuronal communication. Basically, in a two-neuron model, neurotransmitters are released from the presynaptic membrane of the first neuron into the synapse, where they can be received by specific receptors on the postsynaptic membrane of the second neuron, ultimately resulting in an effect on the entire neural pathway.
Oh, okay.
Research on Agmatine has only really picked up in the last 15 years or so. We don't yet understand its role as a neurotransmitter in normal brain function. However, several mechanisms of action have been identified. For example, Agmatine blocks glutamate and nicotinic receptors and binds to alpha-2 adrenoreceptors. Promising research has indicated that Agmatine could be used as a drug in the treatment of opioid addiction.
What's an opioid?
An opioid is defined as a molecule that resembles opiates in its pharmacological effects, and an opiate is any of the opioid alkaloids found in the opium poppy plant. Morphine is an opiate because it's a natural constituent of the opium poppy plant. Heroin can be made by the diacetylation of morphine. It is considered a semi-synthetic opioid, and not an opiate like morphine. The same can be said for oxycodone, a prescription analgesic. Fentanyl, on the other hand, is classified as a synthetic opioid. Medicinal chemistry was used to create fentanyl, and as such it is up to 100 times more potent than morphine and 20 times more potent than heroin. Due to its long duration, same analgesic effects, and low cost, methadone has been widely used to treat addictions to opioids such as these. However, methadone is an opioid itself, and addicts often find themselves perpetuating their addictions with methadone. Agmatine has been shown to bind to imidazoline receptors. This has been proposed to be the main mechanism by which Agmatine modulates endogenous opioid functions, acting on opioid tolerance and dependence. In doing so, Agmatine is influencing the endogenous opioid system without directly acting on it, unlike methadone.
What's opioid dependence?
Opioid dependence is severe opioid addiction. Addicts are both psychologically and physically dependent on opioids. Psychological dependence is dependence that involves psychological withdrawal symptoms. When a person stops engaging in a behavior such as drug use, symptoms include dissatisfaction, apathy, and anxiety. Physical dependence is dependence that occurs when a drug that produces tolerance is used chronically and then stopped abruptly. This results in negative withdrawal symptoms, physical withdrawal symptoms that can be quite severe depending on the drug and the dose volume and interval. Whereas physical dependence is limited to drugs such as opioids, benzodiazepines, alcohol, caffeine, and nicotine, psychological dependence can occur with any behavior and any drug, for example cannabis.
He looks disgusting.
Indeed he does, Laura. But you should always remember that opioid addicts have feelings too. No matter how despicable they look, they are in need of medical help just as anyone else may be. Research has opened up many doors in the treatment of opioid dependence. Agmatine itself has proven a viable treatment option, and perhaps more importantly, its main molecular target, the imidazoline receptor, has been revealed a novel target for the development of drugs by medicinal chemists for the treatment of opioid dependence.